Well, it is a wintry morning here on Route 66 in Kingman, Arizona, heading downtown for a little bit of a meeting with Jay Reddig of the Kingman Motor News. Thought it'd be a great opportunity to give you a preview of Route 66 in Kingman, Arizona, and even better, Kingman, Arizona in the winter time. This is really kind of a rarity even in Kingman. It doesn't happen that often, once or twice a winter. Of course, Route 66 east of Kingman and Route 66 through Flagstaff, Williams, Seligman, and Ashford will probably be closed a little bit this morning. I-40 will be shut down, I'm sure, for a little bit. This is, Route 66 was widened through Kingman and El Trovatore in the late 1940s. This is Lewis Kingman Park. This was a rest area that was put in the 1960s at the junction of Highway 93 and US 66. Of course, 93 has been moved over to I-40 corridor now. The crossing was here at Louise. One of the great mysteries that we still have not figured out yet, at some point, this area was actually not part of Kingman. It was called El Trovatore. There was actually a sign on El Trovatore Hill that said, "Welcome to the unincorporated community of El Trovatore." Rutherford's Route 66 diner right here on the side, that opened as a Denny's in the 1960s. Before that was Lumelli's Garden Arts. This is Glen Plain 76, one of the last motels in the Astro Motel chain. I mentioned Lumelli's Garden Arts. That was originally Bob Bell's father, Bob Bose Bell, flying a service station. Now this is Wallapai Mountain Road. Goes up to Wallapai Mountain Park to the left. 12 miles paved road. You're up in the deep, nice pine forest and just great country up there. City Cafe was on the right. It was tore down by for Walgreens. Siesta Motel on the left dates to 1929. The renovated Hilltop Motel, that dates to mid-1950s, 54, 55, I believe. El Trovatore Motel on the left dates to 1939. The Roadway Inn, interestingly enough, opened as in 1964 as a Roadway Inn, and then it was a Quality Inn and a few other motels over the years. I'm going to show you something a little different here. Now this, before 1947, 48 when they cut the road through, this would have been Route 66. This was also the National Old Trails Road after 1921. This will be, I think, episode number 5 of our In Search of Lost Highways series. This little time capsule here is signed as Chadwick Drive, and it's overlooked by a lot of people traveling Route 66. Gives you a little snapshot of how narrow the old road was. And like I say, this was National Old Trails Road, and then Route 66 until 47. This takes us back to Route 66. That piece we were just on was, like I say, that was Chadwick Drive. And originally, the highway came down El Trovatore Hill in an S shape. Ramblin' Rose Motel's another little gem and time capsule. That opened in about 1959 as a travel lodge, and it still retains its travel lodge railings, the TL on the railings. What I'm going to show you here, the Chadwick Drive segment of Route 66, like I say, came down in an S shape. And you can see remnants of the pavement. Here's the old highway right here. How it would have curved down El Trovatore Hill. The old oil bulk plant was a 76 bulk plant, been a few others. Major fire there in the 1920s, closed the highway for a while. That would be over along what was the National Old Trails Road before 1921. Right in front of us here is the this building here with the little arches. That was the Jade Restaurant. Charlie Lallman, his crew, really famous. Arcadia Lodge is a relic. It dates to 1939. That sign went up in 1964, 63, 64. The Arcadia, kind of a seen better times. Now this property here is very unique. On the right, this is the White Rock Court, built 1936 by Conrad Minka, hard rock mining Russian immigrant. That was the only motel listed in the Green Book for the Negro Motorist. And here where the RVs are, that was Stonywall Court. Then we had Coronado Court, Wallapai Court, Lockwood's Chicken and the Rough Flying A Station. This was all motels that's been lost here. The Legacy sign has been restoring a lot of our signage here in Kingman, working with the Kingman Route 66 Association. And I was going to mention, I mentioned the El Trovatore sign. Here it is. Entering El Trovatore unincorporated. That was on the segment of Route 66 near the summit of the hill, what I showed you that was Chadwick Drive. This building right in front of us was Kaufman Motors. It was a Dodge dealership, Plymouth in the 40s, 30s and 40s. There was a gas station there. TNT Engineering was McCarthy Ford in the 1960s. There's our signature water tanks. The building on the right there is the old Casalinda Cafe. The commercial hotel would have been right in here next to the gas station. That was Kingman's first courthouse, and it was relocated here and opened as the commercial hotel. Then we have the railroad depot on the left. Now this block here is the Luthi block. It was given a facelift in the 1930s to give it that Art Deco kind of a look, but it's the oldest business block we have in Kingman. It dates to the late 1890s. Lovin and Withers building was on this corner. It's gone. Now the Hotel Beale, that opened about 1900 after the Hobbs House burned, and then the back section was added in 1916. The lady opening the door there is going into the old Sportsman's Bar, which opened in 1906 as the Palace Saloon. Next to that is the 1907 Hotel Brunswick. And down here where it says Garibaldi's, that was the Arizona store. That opened in 1910 as a mining supply and ranching store. Now Garibaldi's. Became part of the Old Trails Garage, which was built sometime around 1915. On this corner was Desert Drug, Frontier Bar, Frontier Cafe. This was a service station where it says Route 66 Post Office. That building was converted. This is a pretty exciting additions. You can see the heart-shaped sign. That is all new. That came from a wedding chapel in Las Vegas. And Legacy Signs converted that. This white building is going to be Mud on 66, a gourmet coffee shop. And a Ray Harvey mural. Ray Harvey's an internationally acclaimed mural artist. He's going to be doing a mural there very shortly. This field right here will be filled with vintage Airstream trailers rented as an Airbnb. This little stone building is kind of a puzzle too. We know it was a diner in the 1930s. Has unique white stone trim along the windows. Let me tell you about that in just a second. It's now Scoops on 66, and that's new here in Kingman. Opened in late 23. It was closed for decades, and it's now been renovated. Likewise with this 1946 service station that is now Desert Outfitters, opened as a mobile station about 1946-47. The stone building, the white trim, we haven't learned who the contractor was on that, but there's about a dozen buildings in this area. Some have been torn down. They were built between the 1920s and the mid-1940s. Dutton Motors opened as Taylor Olin Ford in 1946, and it's still owned by the Dutton family. The showroom was added in the 1960s. I want to go back this way just a tad bit. I'll show you this other side of the road, and then we'll come back through. This was, here on this corner, was the colored USO Club during the Second World War when Kingman Army Airfield was operational. And then it became Kingman Lumber Company. And this was all railroad warehousing, things of that nature. The Harvey house would have been right here on this corner. This is our 1907 railroad depot. Now, before let's see, this would have been National Old Trails Road, right straight ahead, and then it bends to the right. National Old Trails Road from 21 to 26, 1913, excuse me, to 1926, and then Route 66 until 47. And then the National Old Trails Road followed South Front Street, which is now Topeka Street. Route 66, until 1938, somewhere in there, came up the tracks and then turned to the right, which is going east. After 37, it was 38, it was realigned along Front Street. Front Street was renamed Andy Devine Avenue during a special episode of This Is Your Life in 1955. Andy was born in Flagstaff, but he was a favored son of Kingman. His father, Thomas Devine, had bought the Hotel Beale in 1906. We're starting to get quite a lot of interesting neon and different things here. You can see I mentioned the heart of historic Route 66. That just went up in February of 24. And it was originally a wedding chapel sign that's been modified for Kingman because our slogan is Heart of Route 66. We have the Powerhouse Visitor Center, 1907, our new arch. Mr. D's Route 66 Diner, a classic that's really a caricature of the old diners, because it really opened in 1939 as the Kingman Cafe, and then it later became Chemo Cafe. KI for Kingman and MO for Mojave County. No, this gets a little confusing. The arch with Kingman, Arizona, Route 66 is actually on Beale Street, one block off Route 66. Now, this is Highway 93 going to Las Vegas. Originally, this was Highway 466. The Arizona Inn, this all gets kind of confusing. I mentioned the roadway inn at the top of the hill. Well, it opened in 1963 as a Ramada Inn. Then it became a Best Western, then a roadway, and then an independent motel, and it's a roadway again. The Arizona Inn opened in 1965 as a roadway inn, been fully renovated. Where we're going today is Calico's Restaurant, a real favorite of mine. Great place, great people. I meet with a lot of tour groups here. They have facilities for groups of all sizes, up to, the front room will hold about 20, and the side room with a full bar holds somewhere around 50. And here we are. Well, that was an impromptu of In Search of Lost Highways, and that was a new version of, another Jim Hinckley's America adventure. And my friends, till we do this again, you take care of yourself, and we want to, you can find a lot of these programs on our website, JimHinckleysAmerica.com. They're also on our YouTube channel as our primary, Jim Hinckley's America. The website also has an embedded player, so you can listen to archive programs of Coffee with Jim, our weekly Sunday morning podcast. My friends, until we meet again, vaya con Dios.